Hello guys, welcome back to the crew Waltron Driving All Cars, part number 52. The Koenigsegg Agera R, that's what we are looking at here. It comes with a, let me check, a performance and a drift spec. It has 7 gears, so if you saw my previous videos, I'm not a big fan of 7 gears drift cars, but we'll see later, but that probably will be a problem again. The cockpit view in this game, yeah, well, I don't know. It's a bit deceiving, isn't it? Steer next to the car and you still hit him. The reason I am in this full stock, because it's, well, pretty simple. It's the best one in the game. Unfortunately, we can't do much with a full stock. If we could, this will probably be the OP car. The handling is a bit tricky of this car, and that's also going to be the problem in performance spec. We are of course not comparing to the bottom of the list, but we are comparing to the better performance spec, LaFerrari, Huayra, things like that, and it's just a little bit less. But it's, if you get used to it, it is up there. I don't know, if it isn't top 5, then it definitely will be top 10 in performance spec. Some might even find it the best, who knows. But that's all chit chat, isn't it? I mean, there are always people on their forums and Facebook pages and stuff like that, and then they come up with statements like, the Agera is the best, and then you meet them in PvP and they are driving the Huayra. But it is a pretty good car though. In full stock this thing can do over 400 kilometers an hour and way over it even, and that makes it a bit, yeah, I don't know. It's going to smoke certain performance specs in full stock for sure, but I'm more and more starting to think that this thing can sort of beat its own performance spec. The only difference is that one has nitro or nuts or boost or whatever you want to call it, and of course this is a full stock. It doesn't have any nuts or nitro available, so I don't know. Let's see in the acceleration test. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to implement the full stock in this test. Performance and drift spec, as you can see there. So in performance we have like 23-24 second cars, give or take the odd 25, which is really slow, and the odd 22, which is really fast. And the problem here is, yeah, you already see it, on the limiter in first gear, meaning Wheelspin. This is a full stock version. It will be even worse in the performance, because other than that it has a quick response, pretty easily does whatever you want it to do, in comparison with other cars who sometimes take half a second or a second before they actually do what you told them to do. Slow response versus quick response. This one has quick response 24.2. That's what we get out of the full stock. That means that acceleration wise it's somewhere in the middle of the pack if you would compare it with a performance spec. So you are going to smoke some of the performance specs with this full stock. The performance spec sort of looks kind of the same. Just put maybe a different bumper, I don't know. Not that many options available here, and or at least not big differences visible. Maybe a few different lights or something, but other than that, bit more carbon here and there, that's kinda it. This one, full bar of nitro compared to the full stock that we used here, and what you will see is that the difference is not that big. 24.0 for this performance spec versus 24.2 for the full stock. And that's mainly because we were able to use the nitro. It has a bit more power, so which also means it's spinning wheels longer, and that means first gear, second gear, and maybe even a bit in third gear. And that's where it loses out to the Huayra and La Ferrari and stuff like that. The Wheelspin, and also compared to the Huayra, this tends to oversteer a little bit more, or slides or drift. It's not really oversteering because it's not like you're losing much time with it, but you're dealing with it anyway, so you will lose like 1/10 here or there in a corner. Couple of corners on a track, that can mean half a second or more difference, which you then have to somehow catch up with driving skills or whatever. It has the acceleration, it will have a decent top speed, I'm assuming. Not that familiar with this car because to me it slides a bit too much. Although I'm not always driving the Huayra, when things matter, you sort of have to, but let's say in an easier lobby, which you sometimes end up in, I've done PvP and I'm driving, well, whoever was in the lobby I drove against them. If it was Platinum 1 drivers, down to Bronze 4 drivers, I just kept where I was. I never left the lobby because of certain ranked players were in there or something. Nope. If you want to be a Platinum 1 driver, which I am now, then you have to face all of them. And not get it by beating Bronze 4 and Bronze 3 drivers. They will always show up in the beginning of your league PvP for sure. Since you are Bronze 4 yourself when you start. And then you can sort of, yeah, play about a bit more with your car's choice. And then I drive something else than the Huayra. There are 70 plus performance specs. If you're always driving the Huayra or La Ferrari, it's going to get a bit boring. This for sure is an option. If you're dealing in a lobby with a couple of low ranked players or even some new players, they don't know the tracks, and then you will smoke them in this thing. If you're dealing with experienced drivers who show up in a La Ferrari or a Huayra, then you're gonna have a fight. But at least you're gonna have a fight. If you can control the wheel spin, because that's the main reason why it's just a bit behind those two cars. They have patched it, I believe, or tweaked it a bit, this Agera, and so it is a bit better now than it was before. But still not good enough to really compare it or have a shot against Huayras and so. But still, it's not a bad car, and especially in full stock, it's the best. If you're new to the game and you don't have super performance or circuit specs, you can have some fun with your friends driving this thing in full stock. Of course, well, it's kind of double, isn't it? If you're new to the game, you probably will not have 1 million or 700,000 if you put some perks on it, because that's the price of this thing. But it's definitely the best use, the performance spec, because I have changed the settings here now. To drift settings, because it also has a drift spec. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there are a couple of cars who have 7 gears and a drift spec, and that's, I don't know, in my opinion that's a combination that doesn't go that well. We had a problem with the Corvette Stingray C7, we had a little problem with the Ferrari 458. We will also probably have a problem with the McLaren 12C and maybe one or two of the Lamborghinis that also might have 7 gears in drift, and it's the same with this one. You're constantly switching between third, fourth gear, doubting what should I take, should I go down to third, should I go up to fourth again. So you're dealing with a track, you're meanwhile drifting, try to keep it in a drift, try to keep the multiplier going in drift events. And then on top of that you're dealing with a bit of tricky gears. Third gear here, and that's just, yeah, it's too low, it goes too slow, and nevertheless I am, well, at 760, not at 1299, but doesn't matter that much. So third gear is not really an option, so eventually I will go, at least some of the part I will go in fourth gear. But smoking tires, that looks good, but it's a bit too much smoking tires. Because also in drift it suffers from wheel spin, and yeah. Let's go to the fourth gear here, more wheel spin. And you slow down, that's a problem. Fourth gear around 160, 170 kilometers an hour should work for this thing. But the problem is you're not getting there. Because if you go to fourth gear, which I think I will do after this corner here again, give it a go again. Fourth gear, throw that thing around. Goes 160, 170 is like this, but sharper corners 120, 130, and it's spinning wheels. So you have to go down to third gear again, and so on. So that's what I mean. 7 gear drift cars are a problem. With the other cars you just put it in second, in third, some maybe even fourth, and keep it there for the whole track and just go on. And with cars like this, next to the track itself, next to the drift itself, you're also dealing with the gears. So no, can be fun in free drive, but for drift trials itself, not advisable. Go with a 6 gear car in drift, will make it a bit more easy. See, in drift is a bit tricky as it is. So the Agera, it's just not top of the bill, but it's coming closer. In performance, in the right hands, it can be competition for the Agera or the LaFerrari. Just a bit too much wheel spin and a little too much oversteer at times. But all in all, it works pretty okay. Koenigsegg Agera R. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.